Hi and welcome back. Today I'm making a panna cotta recipe with some vanilla biscuits and a fruit coulis. It's a lovely recipe, there aren't many ingredients. I'm actually going to put these in these little miniature jam jars that I found in a store near me. They're about half the size of a 375 gram ordinary jam jar. And they're great because you can put your panna cotta in here and then your fruit coulis on top, put the lid on and stack them in the fridge. They're great for picnics, packed lunches, and they look pretty cool as well. If you haven't got anything like that, just use whatever you've got to hand. Firstly, I've got double cream here and I'm going to put 425 ml in this jug. Now I'm going to put my glasses on so that I can see the levels on the jug. I'm a bit vain. I like to try and get away without it. There we go. It's about 425. Now we've got the cream in the jug, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons out of here. Sorry, not 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons out of here, and I'm going to put them on this sort of flattish dish. That's the 3. And this is powdered gelatin. It's just a sachet. And I'm just going to sprinkle this over the top of the cream, and I'm going to leave it to stand and soak up the cream. There. And we're just going to leave that for 10 minutes. With this, I'm going to pour this into my pan. There we go. Scrape it out as much as possible because I'm going to use this jug again to measure the yoghurt. This is 75 grams of caster sugar, and I'm just going to pour that in there. Give it a bit of a stir, and this just goes on the heat now on a low heat to gently warm through. We don't want it to boil, we just want it to gently warm through and dissolve the sugar into the cream, not the cream into the sugar. I don't know what's wrong with me today, my words are all going wrong. There we go, put that on. Oops, where's the button? There. And that's the first bit done. While the cream is gently heating and the gelatin is soaking up in the cream, I'm going to measure out again 425 millilitres of Greek yoghurt. This is full fat Greek yoghurt. When you're doing things like this, always use full fat. I'm going to put my glasses on again so I can see. Look at that. I think it's about 500 in this pot, a little bit more. Oh, I love yoghurt. I'm going to put it into this big jug. Makes a lovely splodging sound when it goes in the jug. And this adds a little bit of acidity to the cream because this is quite a rich, sweet pudding. And over here I've got vanilla extract, and I'm just going to mix 2 teaspoons into here. Oh, I love the smell of vanilla. There's 1. 2. Mix that into the yoghurt. And all we have to do now is to wait for the cream to heat through. Keep an eye on the cream because you do not want it to boil. You just need it to be lovely and warm, sort of just a bit above body temperature. The gelatin has been soaking for 10 minutes and it now looks all wrinkly. Now the cream has been on the hob, so I'm going to take this off. This is just above body temperature. And I'm going to pour this into my warm cream. There we go. We need to stir this and try and get it all distributed through the cream. I might actually get myself a little whisk just to help get it split up because it has gone a bit lumpy. A little whisk to break it up. We're just stirring this through, and you can see little bits of gelatin that haven't dissolved into the cream. I'm now going to sieve this into my yoghurt mixture, and any bits of gelatin that haven't dissolved into the cream will just stay on the top of the sieve, because you don't want lumpy bits, you want the panna cotta to be smooth. So here we go, there's a sieve, and we'll just pour this through. We're just going to mix this through into the yoghurt. There we go. Now you can see why I did it in a jug. I'm now going to pour these into these little pots and try and get them about the same level. I always make one bigger than the others. I don't know, I'm not very good at sharing. Here we go. There's one. You can always go round again. They're not all quite the same level. There. All I'm going to do now is pop the lids on, pop them in the fridge to set while I get on with making the coulis. In here I have 225 grams of frozen fruit. This is mixed summer fruits. There's blackberries, raspberries, strawberries in here. You could use any type of fruit. I'm going to make the coulis now, and to make it easier I'm just going to give this a bit of a blitz with this thing. And let's hope I don't splatter it all over my white top. Let's turn it down. I think that'll do. I've managed not to get any on my top, so I'll stop now, otherwise I'll end it up with it. Just give it a little bit longer and then I'll end it up with it over my top. There, let's put this in the wash. There we go. Now all that's left to do here is to pour it into a sieve, and I'm just going to use a spoon and I'm going to push this through the sieve to get a lovely juice, or well, all the juices from the spatula. All I'm going to do is use the spatula to push this through the sieve, and you'll see it gradually comes through the bottom, and we keep going round and pushing, and you'll end up with like a pulp of sort of bits of skin and seeds in the bottom of your sieve. I'm going to use a metal spoon. So it's gone from sort of quite runny to quite a sludgy. And all we've got here now is leftovers of the fruit. In here I have 75 grams of caster sugar. It's exactly the same amount that was in the panna cotta, and I'm just going to pour that in there and stir it round to dissolve into the sauce. That's the coulis all done. It's a lovely colour. To make it easier to put on top of the little pots, I'm actually going to put mine in a piping bag, and this has got a bit that you chop off the bottom, and to do it I'm just putting it in a cup, standing it up, and I'm just going to pour the coulis into the bag. I'm just going to put a clip on this to seal it until I need it. Once the panna cotta is set, then I'll just get this out and pour it over the top. If you haven't got a piping bag, just spoon it over or use a jug. It's just as easy, but I find it easier to do it this way. Just my preference. I'm just going to use one of these clips to seal it up for later. And there we go. There's our coulis. Everything's in the fridge now, so while that's setting, I'm going to make some biscuits. Here I have 250 grams of softened butter, and that is going in my big mixer. There we go. I cut it into cubes because it softens quicker and it's easier for the mixer to manage. This is 125 grams of caster sugar, and that goes in. I'm just going to put the mixer on and cream those together. I'm going to make sure that the basin is locked into place, otherwise I'd have been turning it on and it would have been going everywhere. It looked like something off Bake Off. Here goes. You cream the butter and sugar together and it'll go all light and fluffy and slightly paler in colour. The butter and sugar is creamed together nicely, so now I'm going to add an egg yolk and I'm going to separate the eggs. And we just put the yolk in with the sugar and butter. There's that gone. I've got vanilla extract here. There's a lot of vanilla in this recipe. I'm just putting 1 teaspoon in this. There we go. And we're going to put the mixer on again. All that's left to do now is to add the flour. This is 350 grams of just plain flour. And here I have a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add that to the flour. There we go. And now all this goes in there. I'm going to take the base off first. Fight. There we go. Sometimes it doesn't always want to come off the base. Oh, that goes in there. You didn't see that. Oops. Wash my hands again. I'm going to put the cover on for this because it's flour and it will go all over the place. I'll look like a ghost. Let's turn it on. You keep mixing the flour until it starts to form a clump, and then that's ready to go in with your hands and knead it. This has now come together in little sort of bally bits, and I'm just going to dive in now with my hands and bring it together to make a big ball of dough. If you haven't got a big mixer, you can cream the butter and sugar together by hand or just use a little handheld mixer and then add the flour gradually because you don't want to blow the mixer up. Now that's a ball like that. I'm going to wrap it in some cling film and put it in the fridge for about half an hour to firm up. You want the butter to go hard again. It's softened while you're mixing the cake mixture, and now it needs to go hard again because you're going to need to roll this out. Here's my cling film that I prepared earlier. See if we can do it without getting it stuck to everything. Get out all the bits. There's a bit. Because of the shape of the bowl, I can't always get the bit out of the bottom. Flatten it down a bit, and I'm just going to wrap it up. There, ready to go in the fridge. The biscuit dough has now been in the fridge for about half an hour, maybe a bit longer, and it's really firmed up. I'm going to cut it in half because it's easier to handle in smaller sizes. Oops, very firm. You can see how firm that has gone. Wrap that up. Sprinkle some flour on your worktop. And we're going to roll out the biscuits. Now this recipe actually makes 40 biscuits. we don't need 40 biscuits today, so I will cook some for going with the panna cotta, and the rest I'm going to leave uncooked, and I'm going to layer up and I'm going to freeze them. Now you need to roll this out about 3mm, which is probably about the size of a pound coin. Oops, it's a bit thick. That's about it. Now I've got a lovely heart-shaped biscuit cutter here. It's really pretty, so I'm just going to use this. You can use any shape you like. I'm going to take all these bits off and bring them back into a ball and keep re-rolling until I've used up all the dough. I'm just going to put these biscuits on the tray for now. Once you've got all your biscuits on the tray, you need to put them in the oven at 180 for 10 to 12 minutes until they just start to go brown around the edges. Once they're cooked, take them out of the oven and let them cool on a wire tray to crispen up. These have been in the fridge now for about 4 hours. If you can, I would make them the day before and then finish them off the next day, because it makes it so that you do guarantee that it's set. I have dished this up once and it just didn't set and it ran, and I think it was my fault. I did something wrong. I've got my coulis in here and I'm just going to snip the end off very carefully and just put a little bit on the top of each panna cotta. There we go. It's so pretty, and there's such a contrast between the panna cotta and this gorgeous summer fruit berry compote. It's going to just taste gorgeous. There we go. I think I've got sort of spread out between all of them. I think I'll put a bit more on him, squeeze them out. Put some more on this one because this was the first one I did. There we go. That's that done. I'll just decorate it and it'll make it look pretty. A little bit of mint. There's one. There's two. And there's three. Oops, I've gone flat. And all we need to do now is put the lids on, put them back in the fridge and eat them when we want them. Now, I know this has been quite a long video because there was a lot in here to show you how to make, and it really is worth it. These are so creamy and so gorgeous, and if you dish these up to your friends, they're going to be really impressed. These are the biscuits. Look at those. Lovely. Well, you couldn't hear that, but that did snap. And they taste so creamy. And I've got a dog down here that thinks because I mentioned the word biscuit, she's going to get some. But she's not, are you? That is a really creamy shortbread biscuit. And now for my panna cotta. That is lovely. The panna cotta is so rich and creamy, and the tartness from the compote on top just complement each other so well. I'm going to enjoy that a little bit later in front of the television, I think, with a nice cup of tea or a glass of wine. I hope that you'll have a go at making these, and don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification button. And if you want the recipe, it does come up in the details down on, I think it's this side. So I'll see you all again next time. go. Hello. I've woken the dog up.